Ciao, gentle viewers. I am so grateful to have you in the studio with me today. We just got back from our trip to the Caribbean, and I worked on my Caribbean journal, and I'm going to share that with you today. But I want to thank you, as I always do, for all of your subscriptions, your likes, your shares, all your shares. You guys have just been sharing like crazy, and thank you for your comments and your thumbs up, your subscriptions. It helps our channel so much. We appreciate it. Today I'm going to give you a little traipse through my journal, and we're going to I'm going to share with you some of my techniques in the book. I've got unfinished work that I'm going to do today on camera, so I can't wait to show you. So this journal, this is the third time it's starred in one of my videos, and it is, if you look on the videos, this is my Tyvek journal, my handmade Tyvek journal, and it also appeared in another video about using elastics and hardware ties, creative ties for your journal. So so this will be the last time it appears in a video, I absolutely promise. This trip wasn't planned, so it came up really quickly, and so I needed to find a journal in a hurry. And fortunately, you know me, I have lots of handmade blank journals that I make all the time just because I make them. So I had this one already, and I just love the ties on it, and I love the brown color. I just wanted to do something a little bit brighter for the front, and so I came up with this paper, and I hand dyed this. Actually, they're like shreds of lace with some alcohol inks, which made it a really dark, bright, yummy color. And I wanted the contrast because I wanted the color of the paper, because we're going to go to the Caribbean, so that beautiful Caribbean blue I thought would be absolutely perfect. And this piece is from an antique buckle off a shoe that I glued down with E6000. So that's the beginning of the book. We'll give you a quick traipse through. I love this paper, and I sanded off the edges. I have no idea where this paper came from, but it just seemed like it worked perfectly with going to the Caribbean. Put a little tracing paper front piece in, and then we got started with just playing around with my water media. And I took watercolor pencils, water-soluble pastels, and Inktense pencils, and then also aquarelle graphite with me on the trip. So I just started playing about ocean and beach. And then I did a collage, and I'm going to come back and share a little technique with you because it's not quite finished yet. And I'll talk to you about taking supplies with me on my trip and what I choose. A few fun little things that I did. This piece was just a little storm you could see off in the distance. This piece actually didn't turn out well. I didn't take Prismacolor pencils with me, and the colored pencils that I took did not play well with other things. So this is one of those things where when you're experimenting and sometimes they just don't work out well, it happens to all of us. So I just wanted to let you know that sometimes things just don't work out the way you had planned. And this one I just drew it on the page and just started coloring in, figuring that the mixed media paper would be great, but it didn't quite take. This is a little diptych that I did of the coastline in Belize. These are the mangroves in Harvest Key, and this is done strictly with watercolor pencils, and I'm going to give you a little tip about doing that. And then this paper is Cotty paper. I have to admit, I hate watercolor paper. I've only been using Cotty paper. It's just much better for using mixed media. This piece is on mixed media paper with a brown tone that I thought was just really yummy for doing work and for creating the effects of the water. And the water was absolutely mesmerizing to me, and always is. I just love water and that abstract nature of water. I put several envelopes in the book, and I was really short on time, so I put this all together on the fly. So I'm going to share with you how I made this. And this piece is a little abstract piece that I created using handmade papers and bits and pieces that I found laying around in the room. And I just love the way it came out. It's called Sandy Beach. This piece is all of water movement, and I'm going to work a little bit more on this and share with you my technique for using all the different water media together. This is titled White Caps, and it's so basically the white paper that I used. It's just all found paper that we accrued during the trip, and then I just color penciled the other pieces, actually watercolor penciled them. This piece is really fun. I'm going to show you how I did this. It's really simple and easy. And then on this trip, we've been to all the different places before, so really keeping track of them day by day wasn't you know, a big deal. So I just decided to hole punch some sketch paper, and then I used I created a stamp to create the lines on each page so that I could just write in what I wanted to. I just thought it would be a really fun look. And then every day I would put a picture of where we were. So it turned out really well, and I liked the way it handled. I could untie it and go through it, and it was really great. A little collage piece here, and a card from a store that we went to. And this is a little collage that I did. Love the way this one turned out. And here's another envelope, really simple envelope. I'm going to show you how to do that. Super easy. And then some more water media pages. Actually, this one belongs with this one. These two go together. I'm going to show you that technique. It's just a simple water color painting on cotton paper, and this is on cotton paper too. And more cotton paper. Love the way this one turned out, Mountains in the Mist. And another envelope back here with some other bits in it, and the end of the book. Okay, you know how I love envelopes that you can see through, because then I know where all my supplies are, because I usually take little bits of papers and pieces with me, and all those little bits go in my envelope. And then on the trip, when I find evidence, then they replace those little bits as I'm using them. So I made this envelope from this. This was a postage stamp envelope that I just simply took apart. It got pretty crunched in the mail, which I absolutely love, and I'm sure I'll use for something else. But I decided to just take it apart and then use it as a template to make my own. So I'm going to make a bunch of these because I think they came out great. And then the other envelope, which is really super simple, and you know how I like to recycle everything. Let me put this up so you can maybe see it a little better. Okay, so you know those little card sleeves that you get when you buy a card? They're so cool. So I always end up with a bunch of those, and I just decided, well, you know, I should just save them and then slice it down on the side and fold that flap over, and then you have a bigger flap that you can just glue or tape down, or in this case I used a sticker. We'll pull this out so you can see it, to glue it to the page. And that way you can actually see what's in there, what you've got to work with. Okay, and then the last one is super easy. When you're pressed for time, just make your own envelope. Just cut them down to size, fit it into your book, and just decorate it up. Pretty easy. So this is one of my collage pieces in my book, and I left it undone. There were other things I wanted to do. And so what I wanted to share with you is that whenever I go on a trip, I always take just a stash of papers with me, all different kinds of things, whatever appeals to me in the moment. I don't overthink it. I just go to all my bags and just pull out scraps of pieces. As you can see, that's what it is, basically. And so I use found papers and objects and things that I find along the way. And I just happened, I hope you can see this right here. There was this, these strings that I found in clothing and things, and I just thought it would be so cool to add as a texture. And then one night at dinner, under the dessert, there was this really cool, huge doily, and I thought it would be great to use as part of my collage. And I brought it back, and it just worked so perfectly. So I really wanted to show up that doily, and so I'm going to use this aquarelle pencil. It's, let's see, what is it? It's graphite aquarelle, and just color in a little bit on the little holes, and then I'll use some water to fill it in just to give it a little bit more definition is what I'm going for. Okay, so since it's a water-soluble graphite pencil, it just makes this lovely gray color to complement the design and make it stand out just a little bit more. And I really love the way it's turning out, and I'm going to be able to go over this with gel medium so that it stays fixed in my book, and it will live for a very long time. So this is mixed water media on watercolor paper, and I was enchanted, as I said, with the water. I always am. It's just so mesmerizing, and so I was just playing with it, and I may come back and do even more of the little white caps and the different colors of blue, just having so much fun with it. So what I'm basically doing is using different colors of, like, this is a watercolor pencil, but then also like this is Inktense, and then just kind of creating a contrast of colors. And then I'll go back with the brush. To get this white, I use this water-soluble pastel, Neocolor Aquarelle. And then I made sure I put it into my sharpener to get a really nice point. And it creates a wonderful little line. And it's just really yummy the way it works. So you might want to try playing with this technique. Then I just go back with a tiny liner brush, and I just kind of illuminate, just pushing the white around and blending in some cases and creating that swirling look of the water. And it's about as mesmerizing as looking at water when you're playing with water media together. Okay, so for the morning pages, I just cut pieces of sketch paper. I knew I wasn't going to do any real work on it, but I would glue some pictures or maybe other evidence of travel on them. But I did want to create some lines, and I saw it as being just another element of interest in the page. And so the way I did it was to just use a piece of cardboard, and then I cut old fun foam. I've used this for mono printing, obviously, and just simply cut it into pieces on my paper cutter, my big heavy duty one, and then just glued them down. And then I used paint. I just painted each one and just stamped each page. And I just loved the way it came out. It was just really, really fun. Okay, this is a piece of tissue paper, and I had a lot of fun with this technique. Again, I was looking at the bubbles coming up from the water, and just really played with this and had a great time. I don't normally take colored papers with me, but for some reason I was really attracted to it. And then when I realized, oh yeah, it's the color of the water, it's the color of the Caribbean blue, I thought, well, that would be perfect. So I used it in conjunction with the Cadi paper, and I'm going to show you how I did that. As you probably know, if you just rip this into pieces and then glue it down onto the paper, onto your substrate, you're going to get a smear of the highly saturated color of the tissue paper on there too. And that's what I was going for. So all I did was make drops on the tissue paper, which went onto the Cadi. And then with this technique, and you can do stripes or triangles or any kind of shape you want, or make any kind of abstract look that you wanted. But I just loved the coloration around the edge, which is what happened here. And then I enhanced it with my pastel, and just loved the way it turned out. So then you get two pieces to play with. And this piece I used with all my other water media as well. And I just love the way they came out. Okay, one tip about using mixed media on khadi paper is you cannot overwork it. You have to be very, very careful about working it too much, because the khadi just will turn to mush. So this I love. Mountains in the Mist, and here are the mountains here that are just coming out of the mist. I wanted to go over the horizon just a slight bit, and then with my little liner brush come back, and I'm just going to basically drop the water on there and let it just kind of run. Now when I used other colors, I took my brush, and rather than draw on the khadi paper, I just blended in the color that I wanted. Because if you use the pencil, then you're going to push those fibers around and you're going to make it really mushy. So that's a tip I have for you in using khadi, but I love the way it looks. Well, we're really close to chow for now, but I have one more tip I wanted to share with you before we close, and that is that sometimes people get really, really scared of the blank page. And I don't have that problem, but I know a lot of people do. So here's my suggestion. Cut pieces of mixed media paper. This is that wonderful brown tone paper, and khadi, and cut them all into different sizes. Take them with you and then glue them to the page. People sometimes find it easier to work on a really small size, and you can do just what I did. Group them together, make a diptych, a triptych, and just play with it and have fun. So I can't wait to see you again next time. Thank you again so much for being here, and ciao ciao.